I'd like to call this meeting to order. The Village of Deerfield Board of Trustees meeting of June 2nd, 2025. Roll call, please.
Mayor Shapiro.
Here.
Trustee Benton.
Here.
Trustee Berg.
Here.
Trustee Goldstone, absent. Trustee Greenberg.
Here.
Trustee Jacoby.
Here.
And Trustee Oppenheim, absent.
We have a quorum. If everyone could please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have a couple of proclamations this evening. The first is National Gun Violence Awareness Day. I'm going to read the proclamation and then come down and present it, okay, to the folks in orange. The 2025 proclamation declaring the first Friday in June to be National Gun Violence Awareness Day. Whereas every day 125 people in the United States are killed by gun violence and more than 260 are shot and wounded, with an average of more than 19,000 gun homicides every year. And whereas people in the United States are 26 times more likely to die by gun homicide than people in other high-income countries. And whereas support for the Second Amendment rights of law-abiding citizens goes hand in hand with keeping guns away from those who are a danger to themselves or others. And whereas mayors, council members, and law enforcement officers, in partnership with local violence intervention activists and resources, know their communities best, are the most familiar with local criminal activity and how to address it, and are best positioned to understand how to keep their citizens safe. And whereas gun violence prevention is more important than ever, as we see gun violence continue to impact communities across the country. And whereas in January 2013, Hadia Pendleton was tragically shot and killed at the age of 15, and on June 6, 2025, to recognize the 20th birthday of Hadia Pendleton, who was born on June 2, 1997. People across the United States will recognize National Gun Violence Awareness Day and wear orange. And whereas the idea was inspired by a group of her friends who asked their classmates to commemorate her life by wearing orange. They chose this color because hunters wear orange to announce themselves to other hunters when out in the woods, and orange is a color that symbolizes the value of human life. And whereas anyone can join this campaign by pledging to wear orange on June 6th, the first day in June 2025 to help, the first Friday rather, in June 2025 to help raise awareness about gun violence. And whereas by wearing orange on June 6, 2025, people across the United States will raise awareness about gun violence and honor the lives of gun violence victims and survivors. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Daniel C. Shapiro, Mayor of the Village of Deerfield, declare the first Friday in June 6, 2025, to be National Gun Violence Awareness Day. I encourage all citizens to support their local community's efforts to prevent the tragic effects of gun violence and to honor and to value human lives. Proclaim the second day of June 2025. Do I have a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Proclamation is approved. Let me come down and present it to you guys. So we'll keep this.
Thank you.
You don't have to sit down. If you guys want to offer a word or two, that would be wonderful.
Thank you so much, Mayor Shapiro and trustees. Here we are again after so many years of trying to prevent gun violence, and it seems to be a never-ending problem, but we will keep going and we will keep fighting and we will keep wearing orange until one day we don't have to worry about gun violence prevention anymore. So I thank you for your support, for doing all you do, and we're very grateful to be in a community that cares so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The second proclamation we have tonight is LGBTQ Pride Month. Whereas the battle for dignity, equality, and personal safety for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and questioning people is reflected in the tireless commitment of the LGBTQ community, as well as dedicated advocates and allies who strive to forge a more inclusive society. And whereas President Bill Clinton on June 2nd, 2000 declared June Gay and Lesbian Pride Month to commemorate the June 1969 Stonewall Uprising in Lower Manhattan, and on June 1, 2009, President Barack Obama expanded the commemoration further by declaring June to be Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, and Transgender Pride Month. And whereas LGBTQ Americans, including those who live in our local communities, face hate and discrimination simply for being who they are and for who they love, and there remains much work to do to extend the promise of our country to every person. And whereas the landmark Supreme Court decision of 2015 guaranteeing marriage equality in all 50 states was a historic victory for the LGBTQ Americans and continues to affirm our belief that we are all more free when we are all treated as equals. Now, therefore, I, Daniel C. Shapiro, Mayor of the Village of Deerfield, hereby proclaim June 2025 as Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, Transgender, and Questioning Pride Month in the Village of Deerfield, and encourage all community residents to eliminate prejudice wherever it exists and to celebrate our great diversity by celebrating our LGBTQ friends and neighbors. Proclaim this second day of June 2025. Is there a motion to approve the proclamation?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
And I think we have someone from Josh Doobie. Okay.
Hi, I'm Josh. Thanks for having me. I'm a student member on the Deerfield Community Relations Commission. I'm really honored to accept this. I think it sort of speaks miles to what we value as a community and why Deerfield is such a special place to live. When you see what's going on in the world today, I think it speaks to sort of the space that we have and the people in our community. So it's really special. And then if you're looking for something to do to show your personal pride or your support as an ally, June 21st is Pride Day at the Farmers Market, so fingers crossed that the weather is good. It's always a lot of fun. There's Deerfield PFLAG who will be there, and One Medical, as well as the Community Relations Commission will have a table, and there will be a lot of fun giveaways and fun activities. So yeah, it'll be a blast.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you.
And then I'll add to that, the Fine Arts Commission is funding in part the Queer Poem a Day podcast out of the Deerfield Public Library this year. And this is our, I think, 4th year of supporting them in that endeavor, along with the Friends of the Library.
Awesome. Wonderful. Thanks, Josh. Before we move on to the next matter, we just passed 2 proclamations that are very important. They're very important because, with respect to the folks in Orange, we need to continue to raise awareness to violence, hatred, guns, and your determination every year doing this and wearing orange is so important. And we encourage you to encourage others to do that. And wherever Josh went, Josh is back there. This proclamation that you just received is also really, it speaks to our continuing efforts to treat everyone with dignity and to be an inclusive community and I'm glad you were here to accept that proclamation. Thanks, Josh. Minutes of the previous meeting of May 19, 2025, as well as minutes of May 21, 2025 at our committee of a whole. Is there a motion to approve those two sets of minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Treasurer's report, Eric.
This is the April 2025 Treasurer's Report. It represents a third of the year, largely as expected so far this year, but I do have just a few highlights for tonight. Net sales tax decreased significantly from last month. That's because, as you recall, we had some non-recurring revenue last month that didn't recur. And we also would typically expect a decrease this time of year because last month's receipts were related to December sales. This month's receipts are related to January sales. So end of year receipts are typically larger than they are first of the year.
So nothing unusual, to just a cycle thing.
Yep.
Okay.
Water and sewer billings continue to reflect lower usage months. Again, typical this time of year as we get into the billing for the summer months, that will start to increase there. Hotel tax reflects payments from 5 hotels. We got the 6th payment shortly after month end, so we are square with everyone there, but it just a little delay there. State income tax also increased from last month, and we're actually expecting quite a big increase in May. That's because of the timing of when income tax payments are due to the state. So a lot of us probably made large payments in April. State takes that and distributes it out in May. So that happens every year as well. But again, happening this year, so good news. We did as well receive a reimbursement from our JetSB for the dispatch costs, quarterly reimbursement there. JetSB pays us back for some of our dispatch costs 4 times a year. So that happened in April, as expected. Notable expenditures in April include construction and engineering costs for the projects that are going on right now. We purchased a Public Works chassis and body for truck 604. We purchased a tow-behind air compressor, and we purchased a Ford Escape hybrid for Community Development Department. In looking forward a little bit in May, we're going to make our general liability insurance payment. That's an annual payment of close to $800,000, and we're making the first interest payment for our debt service, which is about $900,000 in May as well. So, all expected, all budgeted, but just noteworthy items to let you know that that's coming. Those are highlights, but happy to answer any questions there may be.
And again, Your Honor, the project costs, so Pulte, all those things, those are reimbursable. Mm-hmm. And part of that agreement on those approvals is that they have to reimburse us for our direct costs to provide for engineering supervision, construction supervision.
Does anyone have any questions for Eric? Thank you.
Thank you.
Bills and payroll. Is there a motion?
Move approval.
Second.
Roll call.
Trustee Berg,
Yes.
Trustee Greenberg,
Yes.
Trustee Jacoby,
Yes.
and Trustee Benton.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Now it's the time where we offer the public an opportunity to make any comments on matters that are not on the agenda. I see there are 2 people who signed up. Susan Mason was here, so she made her comments. And Donna Osborne. Donna, you want to talk about Hazel? Welcome.
Good evening. I'm slightly nervous. I'm not into public speaking.
Take your time. You're good.
I know. And I'm glad I live in a community that cares about pride and gun violence. I live on Springfield, where currently we have all the chaos from the construction. I'm experiencing, and my neighbors, those of us who live on the west side of Springfield, are frustrated. I've written emails to Mr. Dickinson and Mr. Keenan.
Oh, Keenan.
And I'm not sure what can be done, but I keep being told there's nothing we can do. And frankly, that's like a cop-out. And it goes against what I think are the values of this community. It's just, I've had 4 kids go through these public schools, and they don't teach that. And for our village to be like, well, there's nothing we can do. So what happens is, we live on Springfield. That is the street that goes directly into Jewett. People cannot get to the Jewett parking lot from Waukegan Road because there is a road closed sign there currently. You can go east on Hazel, but you cannot come west from Waukegan Road. So they go around the block, and then they get to our street where there is a road closed sign at Fair Oaks, but that doesn't really mean anything. And then they get to the end of our street, and there's another road closed sign, although there's only one because one is laying on the ground. And then suddenly they go, road closed. I must park here. And so the result is we are all parking on the street. And Mr. Dickinson and Mr. Keenan say, use the alley, use the alley. But I cannot tell at any given time of the day when I come home or my sons come home where a construction truck is going to be on Hazel. Oftentimes, they are blocking Hazel, or they're blocking Park Avenue. It's extremely frustrating to gauge, can I get to the alley today? Maybe not. So they've given us overnight parking. Great. But during the day, we have people coming down our street, ignoring every road closed sign until the one at Hazel, and suddenly they must park there. It should not be that if we go out during the day and we come home and we can't get to the alley, or we have to wait 10 minutes and experience frustration from the construction workers to move their truck or their digger or whatever it is, that we don't have a place to park. And I'm just highly frustrated. To add to that, my neighbor directly across the street has a driveway. They are not impacted by this at all. They currently have too many vehicles for their driveway because they have invited their sons home. Sons don't live here, although the cars are registered to that address. They are here, and they have a camper at the end of their driveway. So they don't have enough space for all of these cars.
Donna, I'm hearing you, but I also would like you to wrap it up because we have a 3-minute limit, okay?
I'm asking you to do something.
Okay.
Permit parking, better road close signs that say residents only, my neighbor putting their camper somewhere else.
Got it. So I'm going to ask you to continue to work with staff, and I'm going to ask staff to continue to talk to Donna to see if there's some other things we can do here. Maybe it's a second road closure sign, just like we really mean it. We need to put another sign there. I don't know. I hear your frustration. Staff was going to talk to you and see if there's something else we can do.
Okay. I appreciate that.
All right, then.
Because thus far it's a public street. We can do nothing.
I understand. At the same time, this is a major, major construction project. So, and I'm not being disrespectful at all. There will always be disruptions when you have road closures.
Absolutely. And we are disrupted. We shouldn't be inconvenienced more, though.
Understood.
That's my point.
Okay.
We are already inconvenienced. It shouldn't go beyond that.
I got you. Donna, thank you. Thanks for coming tonight. Any other public comment? All right, moving on to the agenda. Let's go to new business. A public hearing regarding the adoption of the Village of Deerfield Affordable Housing Plan. And the first thing we need to do is we need to open the public hearing. So, David, do we need to take no, I would like to now ask for a motion to open up the public hearing for our affordable housing plan. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are in public hearing. Andrew.
Thank you, Mayor and Board. Justin, could you bring up the screen? Thank you. In your packets was a copy of the Village's Affordable Housing Plan, proposed plan to be filed with Illinois Housing Development Authority. I'll be happy to cover some of the highlights tonight during our public hearing. Okay, so we're talking about the Affordable Housing Planning and Appeals Act adopted by the state of Illinois. And the stated purpose of the act is to encourage affordable housing to be incorporated into a municipality's housing stock. And it also provides a forum for developers that feel that they have been treated unfairly due to local interpretation of an ordinance or regulation. They can go and appeal to this body and get a ruling. The act defines affordable housing as for home buyers are those that are at 80% of the area median income. AMI is the term that they use. So 80%. And then for renters, it's 60% of the area median income. So this is different than the village's definition of affordable housing per our affordable housing ordinance. We define it, sometimes it's 80% AMI, but other times we define affordability or affordable housing at 100% AMI. And so that number changes year to year. Right now, for a household of 4 individuals, 100% AMI states that the income of that household cannot exceed about $112,000 a year. And then 80% AMI is about $89,000 a year, just to give you some perspective of what affordability means. So in the Act, the Illinois Housing Development Authority is charged with determining which local governments must prepare an affordable housing plan. They make that determination, and then that plan must be filed by June 14th of 2025. The Village of Deerfield has been identified by IDA to need to file that plan because we have less than 10% of our total year-round housing stock meeting their definition of affordable. So with that said, it's uncertain whether or not the Act applies to the Village of Deerfield due to our home rule status, but regardless of whether or not the village is subject to the Act due to the home rule status, the village has, in fact, created an affordable housing plan that meets all the requirements of the Act and intends to file the plan in accordance with the Act. So some history on affordable housing. Here in the Village of Deerfield, this board has encouraged and attracted affordable housing in the community that's consistent with the public health and safety capabilities of the village and that protects and preserves the character and environment of the village. So it's been planned, it has not been haphazard, and the affordable housing ordinance, the inclusionary zoning ordinance, speaks to that. This board, through that ordinance, most notably, has also recognized the need to provide affordable housing to low and middle income households in order to increase the opportunity for a diverse population and to provide housing for those that live and work in the village. So some of the most notable and significant steps that this village board has taken thus far to increase affordable housing in the village include that 2021 amendment to the zoning ordinance, commonly referred to as the inclusionary zoning ordinance, which requires developers to incorporate affordable housing per our definition into residential developments. In addition, this board has authorized a number of adaptive reuses, so multiple amendments to the comprehensive plan and the zoning ordinance that have allowed for commercial, office, and retail centers to be redeveloped and into residential housing communities with affordable housing included. This board is also engaged in ongoing inclusionary housing administrative services to ensure that there's a long-term compliance with the program. In this case, right now, we are actively engaged with SEPA, the Community Partners for Affordable Housing, that assists the village staff. It assists developers and assists tenants or home owners, for that matter, to comply with the village's affordable housing programs. The village board also authorized a 2024 investigation of the housing market and housing demand study, and that housing study did show a strong demand for affordable housing in the village. And then this board's approved a myriad of village policies and procedures and a technical guide that really accompany the inclusionary zoning ordinance and help staff to administer the village's affordable housing programs. So where do we stand today with affordable housing? Now, this is per the Illinois Department of Housing Authority, and they really look at 2020 census data, is that it's 4.8% affordable housing in the Village of Deerfield, or 358 total affordable housing units. And that's compared to the 7,475 total year-round housing units that we have.
That's from 2020.
It's the 2020. It's actually the 2021 American Communities Survey, which uses like a 5-year, but it's the census data. So the most recent and available census data. This filing and this report is actually considered the 2023 report from the Illinois Housing Development Authority. So the goal for the Village of Deerfield, consistent with the village's inclusionary zoning ordinance, is to achieve 10% affordable housing, or in other words, increase affordable housing units by 389 dwellings. And with that said, there's been several recently approved developments that are not captured in that IDA number. This will bring 218 additional affordable housing units once those developments are completed and constructed as defined by the village's affordable housing ordinance, a large portion of which will also satisfy IDA's requirement for low and moderate income housing as defined in the Act. So most notably, that'd be Zion Woods. All of those dwelling units would satisfy the requirements of the Act, as well as the supportive living facility at the south side of Lake Cook Road. And so next steps related to the plan is to have ongoing review of the plan and its performance every 5 years. The Act and IDA will make that determination about which communities need to file the plan. Every 5 years we'll get that report, so we want to continue to monitor our own plan and the performance of our plan and the goals in the plan, and continue to assess the effectiveness of the village's various affordable housing programs and whether or not they're achieving the goals of the village board and the goals stated in the plan. What we expect, our forecast, is that we do expect additional residential developments in the near future that will also contain additional affordable housing units. And while there's no specific time frame for achieving the affordable housing goals that are stated in the plan, rather, the village has created the conditions that are amenable to achieving the affordable housing targets in Deerfield in a manner that will not impact the health and safety capabilities of the village and that will protect and preserve the character environment of the village. And so to satisfy the requirements, should the plan be approved tonight, then staff will file a copy of that plan with IDA in accordance with the requirements of the Act. The plan will meet the minimum requirements of that Act, and we need to do so prior to June 14th. And with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Question. Of the 358 current affordable units, how many of those are single-family homes, attached or detached, and how many of those are in larger buildings?
That's a good question. We actually don't have that breakdown from IDA. So IDA identifies the total number for us, but they don't give us a breakdown of an address or even the makeup of those units. I would suspect that most are in multifamily, but I really don't know that. We don't have that address.
Okay.
First of all, great report. Thank you.
Thank you.
It really covered a lot. But secondly, I want to commend the board. Since 2021, we've made a lot of progress in this way, starting with our affordable housing ordinance in the fall of 2021 and moving forward to some of the developments that we're approving. And we will continue to make progress, but just in 4 short years, we really have looked at affordable housing as a priority, and we've accomplished a lot of that goal. So I want to thank you all. Did you?
I did. I just want to add that in some respects the goalposts move a little bit here every 5 years. They issue this report every 5 years, and I want to say 5 years ago we were at 7%.
Correct.
So some of that stuff has to do with market value and other things. On the other hand, we continue to press to improve the number of units, but it's also somewhat beyond our control. So I want to just remind the board that we can have the goal at 10, and maybe that turns into something else. So I clearly the board has demonstrated a willingness and an interest in accomplishing that goal. But I would also say that sometimes that moves based on market conditions that you can't control.
I feel as long as we keep doing the right thing, we'll get there. And we don't have to be hung up on 10% today, tomorrow, whatever. We're making efforts, and I think they're very laudable efforts to provide opportunities for those who can't afford housing to live here. So anyone from the public who would like to make a comment? Any questions for Andrew? Trustee comments, anything?
My
All right.
my comment is there are many projects that were started at the beginning of this when we didn't have that much affordable housing and housing units altogether. But the first single-family homes, the ones in the Clara Estates, are something different, and that's the kind of thing that should justify our continuing this project and continuing qualifying for the results as they show.
Earlier tonight, we adopted a proclamation, LGBTQ, and that was for the purpose of, or a theme of inclusivity. This is another part of that, inclusivity. So, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved. Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
We will see, do we have to approve the plan now?
We should adopt the resolution
Okay.
to approve.
Is there a motion to adopt the resolution? That wasn't really good. Is there a motion to approve the resolution adopting the plan?
So moved.
Second?
Roll call.
Trustee Greenberg,
Yes.
Trustee Jacoby,
Yes.
Trustee Benton,
Yes?
and Trustee Berg.
Yes.
The resolution is approved, and we will do this again in 2030.
5
Thank
years.
you.
We'll be back.
See you then.
Hopefully with more
Item
progress.
2543, a resolution approving an IGA with Lake County and other Lake County municipalities to govern and to contribute to the Lake County Metropolitan Enforcement Group. Brian.
Good evening, Mayor and Board. The Police Department, like the Mayor said, is here seeking approval of a resolution approving intergovernmental agreements between the Illinois State Police and other Lake County municipalities to govern and contribute to the Lake County Metropolitan Enforcement Group. The Lake County Metropolitan Enforcement Group is a collaborative law enforcement effort with the initiatives to establish intergovernmental agreements among multiple jurisdictions within Lake County and with the Illinois State Police. This partnership between all these agencies aims to combat illegal drug trafficking, street gang activity, weapons violations, and other illicit activities across Lake County. By pooling all these efforts together, it enhances the effectiveness of law enforcement throughout the entire county and region. The Village of Deerfield and Deerfield Police Department has been contributing member with the Lake County Metropolitan Enforcement Group since approximately 1978. And part of our contributions to that unit is a full-time officer is assigned to that unit for on an average of 2 to 3 years of assignment to where they work specifically with the Metropolitan Enforcement Group. There are two intergovernmental agreements that cover the organizational structure, policy board structures, and rules and regulations of the unit, and the members and duties of the members of the unit. Through this collaborative effort, like I said before, dedicated efforts is a crucial role in enhancing the public safety and addressing drug-related issues and other issues within Deerfield and the Lake County region. So it is the department's recommendation for the approval of the resolution to enter into these intergovernmental agreements, which is done usually yearly and or every other year.
Have we ever missed a year since '79?
No,
Probably not.
I don't believe we have. Actually, I have it on my bulletin board who's been in there. So,
Does anyone have any questions?
I have a question. I would imagine that a participant might see some new or additional types of illegal activities serving and gaining experience. How does that come back to help the department and when they are rotating off of this task force and back into the Deerfield department?
I can speak from experience coming back with the the different type of investigative skills you obtain from that unit, different ways of approaching things with the undercover capacity, and just the networking throughout the county. And then also Lake County has its own unit, Cook County, DuPage County, McHenry County, so they all work together. And the connection between all the individuals and the networking is it's hard to even explain the quality and the benefit of that aspect of it.
I would imagine that's great.
They do a lot more than just the narcotics and the weapons. Statute allows them to do the human trafficking and all that aspect as well.
It's a great observation, because partly what we need to learn from each other, because what might be affecting Vernon Hills today will be affecting us tomorrow, and your awareness of that with these guys.
That's a good point.
It's really important.
And you pick up on the little things, and it's like, oh, this guy did this, and it just
Right.
It's very, very informative, and the networking is great.
Questions? Questions, Bob? Anything?
Nope.
Is there a motion to approve the resolution for the IGA?
So moved.
Roll call.
Trustee Jacoby.
Yes.
Trustee Benton.
Yes.
Trustee Berg. Yes. And Trustee Greenberg.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 2544, an ordinance amending Chapter 7 of our municipal code to regulate the sale and possession of THC and kratom and other similar products.
The village has been monitoring the THC product regulations by the state of Illinois and other Illinois municipalities. To date, no further action has been taken by the state of Illinois to regulate THC, kratom, or similar products. The mayor and village trustees considered regulations for THC, kratom, and other similar products at the March 12th, April 16th, and May 21st, 2025 Committee of the Whole meetings. The enclosed ordinance was prepared based on input following those discussions. The ordinance as drafted amends the village code to regulate the sale, distribution, or delivery of certain THC products in the village, prohibits the sale of THC-8, THC-10 products, kratom, and 7-hydroxymetazoline in the village, and prohibits the possession and use of THC products, kratom, and 7-OH products, all persons under 21 years of age. Additionally, the ordinance restricts the sale of Delta-9 THC products to packaged liquor stores that hold a Class A license and cannabis business establishments only. All Delta-9 THC products available for sale must have a clear and conspicuous label notifying the purchase of the total Delta-9 THC content of the product. Non-beverage Delta-9 THC products, such as gummies, must be sold from behind a counter controlled by an employee of the business establishment.
Trustee comments? Public comments? Before we take a vote on this, I want to thank our village council for their help and guidance, as well as the board. We really talked about this on several occasions and really worked through this issue. So thank you, everyone, for doing that. Is there a motion to approve the ordinance?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Any further discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Benton.
Yes.
Trustee Berg. Yes. Trustee Greenberg.
Yes.
And Trustee Jacoby.
Yes.
Ordinance passes. Item 2546, a resolution approving an IGA with Village Township School District 113 concerning the construction of a new district pipe and village improvements. I think we have a slideshow, right?
Hey, Justin.
Look at that tie.
Yeah. Good time, Bob.
Thank you, Mayor. Deerfield High School, Waukegan Road here on the west side, Warrior Way, which is their main entrance, and then in the back part of the high school, which I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with, is a parking lot in this area here. The high school has had plans to reconstruct this parking lot for about 4 years. So in a roundabout way, they got to that point, and they're ready to do that this year. That includes the replacement of a storm sewer, which is this pipe right here. I don't know what color that is. I think it's green or red. So this pipe right here, it says 64. It's 64-inch diameter pipe. And then the pipe from this manhole right here where it says MH to this point where it says MH. So it's that entire run. It's about 800 feet. The section right in here where there's this manhole or junction box, and then it goes on to high school property is the part that we're responsible for. And we've taken responsibility for that. We've had similar situations where we take ownership of what's on, what would be village property, or in this case, it's residential property. There's an easement there for drainage. And then the owner, or in this case, the school district, they take responsibility for the portion that's on their property. There's many versions of this where there's agreements where somebody has agreement to own and maintain, or to own, or there's no agreement at all. In this case, there's no agreement. There's no documentation on when that pipe was installed. But we have aerial photography and other documentation that shows approximately what year it was built, and they desired to have a parking lot over the top of it. So over the course of the last, say, 4 years or so, maybe even longer, we've had conversations with the school district about our responsibility and our financial responsibility, and theirs and ours. We've discussed the $75,000 as our responsibility. We've budgeted that multiple years in the capital improvement program, and this year in 2025, it's not budgeted. Mayor asked me during budget sessions if the school district wanted to do that this work in 2025, if we could pull it forward and do it, and I said yes, and here we are. So our council has prepared an agreement to go back and forth between us and the school district, D113. D113 has already approved their portion of it, and we're looking for approval from the village board tonight, and that goes along with the $75,000 expenditure. That expenditure, the $75,000, as mentioned, is not budgeted for in the 2025 budget, but wanted to make sure that everybody's aware of that. So with that, I would entertain any questions that you might have.
And staff strongly recommends approval. Again, if we don't do it this year, we'll do it next year. This is one of those things where if you can do it in conjunction with their improvements, it's cost efficient. It needs to be done. So I'll come, if we don't do it this year, I'm coming back to you next year saying we got to do it. But want to thank Bob and as well as the mayor for his patience on this particular issue, as well as the foresight of our new superintendent of District 113 who helped get this across the finish line.
We almost had this last year, but it got a little
misdirect.
Yeah, a little dicey. But we're back for this year, and I would recommend we move forward on this. Does anyone have any questions? Thank you, Bob, for your hard work on this.
Thank you.
Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
Trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Greenberg.
Yes.
Trustee Jacoby.
Yes.
And Trustee Benton.
Yes.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Items for discussion by the Mayor and Board of Trustees. We have had 2 long-term employees who are retiring. Tommy Sherman, our custodian of 34 years, is retiring, and we wish him well.
He made
I've
it happen,
seen
man.
him,
The dude made it happen.
Here early and late, and he's just like a presence, and he's going to be missed. And then Debbie Galante, our payroll and benefits specialist, she's been here for 17 years, and she too is going to be retiring. We wish them both well in their future endeavors, and they're always welcome back. We also want to congratulate all the graduates from District 109. They have graduation tonight. And we wish them congratulations, safe and fun summer.
And 113 was last week.
And 113 was last week. Thank you. Art Festival was last weekend, Saturday and Sunday, 2 gorgeous days. It was so well attended. It was great. I saw Larry there, and I know many of us in this room went there. It was really a terrific art show this year. Food truck Wednesday, 2 weeks ago or so, it was rained out. We're keeping our fingers crossed that there's no rain this Wednesday night, which will be on the 4th, and we're hoping that we can have our inaugural food truck event this Wednesday night. And that's from 4:30 to 8. On the 7th, we have an electronics recycling event at the Public Works building from 9 to 1 p.m. So bring all your old printers or whatever to be recycled. After that, we have the Farmers Market a week after that on June 14th at Park Avenue, starting from 7 to 12:30 and every Saturday thereafter. And the last thing is the 50-50 tree program, which begins on June 16th. So we have a lot of stuff coming up this month and to continue throughout the summer. Does anyone have any comments about anything?
Would somebody clarify, excuse me, the 50-50 tree program for those people who are out in the village? Would like to know just what it includes.
When you guys?
It's a Parkway tree planting program that we've been doing for oodles of years.
We've been doing it for a long time, at least 20 years that I can remember. So we have Parkway tree inventory, and so throughout the village we own them. And every year we have some blank spots in the parkway in front of people's homes. They're allowed to apply, and then they pay 50% of the fee to purchase and plant a tree in that particular area. So how that works is they fill out the application. There's a selection of, say, 10 trees or so. We have mostly native trees on they're all native trees actually on the list. The person selects a certain type of tree. Our forester will visit that location, make sure that location is a good location for that particular type of tree, and then we'll okay it. Sometimes they make a recommendation for a different species of tree, but that's generally how it works. I think they're roughly 200, 225, somewhere in that range.
Has that ever been in the deer prints that we send out prior to?
It's definitely in detail. It's definitely in details,
rather,
and when we
sorry.
send that information out, and again, supporting the tree canopy is a really kind of a village goal to improve shade and improve the landscape in the community. And Bob, you said we do how many of these a year? 200-ish?
So we don't actually. We have planted up to 200. Generally, we're in the
100-ish?
say 40 to 75 range, somewhere in that. Last few years, we haven't planted that many. We don't actually have that much space available in the parkways anymore to plant trees. So we plant them where we can. And we have specific guidelines. Distance in between trees. The size of the parkway. Are there overhead power lines? There's a lot of different things that we take into consideration when we approve a planting for a certain area.
And I believe we have put it in details before.
Mm-hmm.
No, we have.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
It's in every year.
Sorry, David. There's an e-blast. There's other ways that we advertise it. But if anybody has any suggestions on how to advertise it more widely, then feel free.
You got anything?
No, sir.
All right. I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.